morning, y'all. We're headed up to Elkhart to take a tour of the East-West factory where our camper was made.
Elkhart is where most of the RVs in this country are produced. So we just passed the Thor factory. We've already passed one of the locations of Forest River.
East to west, there it is.
So as you can see, we've got supplies that come in daily, whether it's couches, whether it's mattresses, as you can see right there. We're always having supplies come in. We used to run our shipping department out of these two bays right here, but they kind of moved that further down, so now it's just final finish. You can see there, and they're kind of wiping some stuff down. We'll go in this side over here. Those are probably the next two out. They're just putting those final touch on. Typically, our workers are from 5 o'clock to 11, so we're just catching them at the end of the day here. So, final finish, Silver Lake. This is the private label that we built for Camping World. Real similar product with a lot of differences. No skirt metal, so there's no decorative skirt metal on here, so it's a little bit more exposed there. And if you look down, no Goodyear tires, no fancy rims, manual jacks. So that's how we separate that between the Delaterra and what Camping World runs out and sells. So this is an incredibly stripped down model of features. Or you're going to have the Goodyear tires, you're going to have the porcelain toilet, you're going to have the king bed, things of that. They don't have that in here, so that way we can separate it. All my years of selling campers, the king bed is not for everybody. During the initial sales process with them, you know, we point out the king size bed, and there's times where like, well, we would just rather have a queen. But fortunately, we can build it with a queen as well, you know? So we win either way, but we typically stock it everywhere, and we run it standard with a king bed unless someone lets us know differently. But as you can see, here we get wood, we get paneling, all of the things that come from stock styles and trim.
Who determines what design it's going to be? Like what?
You mean the floor plan you're saying?
Yeah,
or the color schemes?
Yeah, color
Awesome.
schemes.
So that goes to Miss Lisa Legal Reese, who is our general manager.
Oh, okay.
So we are the only RV manufacturer in the country that our senior leadership is female driven. So that kind of gives us a difference when we go out and we talk to folks, because this is a very male dominated industry. And so by having Lisa Legal at the top of it, it's something that we like to talk about, because it is important to let others know that there are different sets of eyes on this. And if I'm not mistaken, our entire quality control team are females. So they get a different eye on things, and so it just it's a nice blend between the males and the females, and it's always good to have their touch and their look. And so Lisa actually designs the interiors.
Okay.
And we all have a say-so on the exteriors, like the sales team. Like, we're all going to vote on what we want to see, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are going to be tasked with selling it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll run 2 or 3 or 4 different things to look at, and then we'll just finally select on something that we all love. But Lisa does 90% of the interior. The sales team has a lot to do with the exterior. So we'll do a wrap around this thing, and then you'll start seeing how we put these things together, where they start kind of turning into RVs, in opposed to just being chassis and axles and tires.
And parts.
Yep. But this here, so we've got a little cut station right here. What this is designed to do, so these people are always a week out on what they're building, or I should say they're the next day out on what they're building, but they're a week ahead of that. So for one week they may be building, or for one day they may build a particular floor plan. The next day they build a different floor plan, and maybe the walls are shorter, maybe something's different. So all of this gets pre-cut, and it goes to their stages, so when they're ready on that floor plan, they're not running back there trying to cut stuff. It's all pre-cut for them. So they're over there where the fish are biting at, and they're just putting it together, while these guys over here jig things up, get proper cuts, so they just stay in the manufacturing
Did they
mode.
ever get problems like, hey, you cut this too short, we need another?
Oh, sure. That would absolutely happen.
Go get the board stretcher and take care of it.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know how common that is. I don't experience those problems on the floor, so I don't know how much they talk about it.
Yeah.
My offices are up there, but I really doubt it that there are mistakes. I mean, We're all human here.
Yep.
So,
There's one of the changes I would recommend.
what's that?
That little window between the slide. Right there. Y'all doing a solid one? It would be great to have one that opens, because when you're parked,
Yeah.
then you get airflow from that.
So 22 didn't have that in the model. 24s have operational slide out sidewall windows.
Okay.
So you're just a couple years off. Now, here's what I will tell you. Remember how when we were walking back to your car and I was going to tell you about our strategy moving forward? Well, we're trying to get smaller and lighter weight, more cost efficiencies, right? Because in this environment that we're in now, very, very expensive campers aren't selling. It's the smaller, lighter weight, more efficient ones, more effective ones. And so we've had to start to decontent a few things. And instead of having the operational windows, we went back to the non-operational windows
25
to save a little bit of money for our consumers. Exactly. That's not a make it or break it feature. I know you just said, hey, think about doing this, but we did for a couple years, but we went back to the standard window. We got to save a couple bucks so we can pass that along to the retail guy, so then he can pass it along to the consumer. Because where we're at in this economy right now and in this industry, we gotta come up with a formula that works, and it's smaller, lighter weight, well-built, affordable campers.
You don't use any glue here, do you?
No adhesives whatsoever. And we use a little bit of compressed gas too.
Oh yeah. When we were at the RV show, we were looking at a 23.
Okay.
January 23.
Yeah.
We were looking at a 23. We thought, this is the one we want.
Yeah.
And they started looking and said, well, we don't have any 23s right now. They said, well, our dealership right down the road has a 22.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll take that,
gotcha.
we'll make it match.
Yep. I see what
So
you're
they
saying.
did. They put the solar on it.
Yep.
They put the solar control.
Yep.
They did a pretty good job making it match.
And then probably gave you a pretty good price to
And
help
then
get
they-
rid of that 22.
They did cut the price on it.
Cut a little bit.
Some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Well, that's the idea out there at the dealership level. When the new model, so now 25s are rolling out, and 23s are what everyone's trying to get rid of. It's okay on a dealership lot to have 24 and 25. That's going to happen every year. The goal is not to have 3 years, not to have 23s, 24s, and 25. This back here is where the magic starts to happen.
So here's where the frames come in.
So here's where the frames come in, and if you notice, the power tongue jack is upside down, which means the entire chassis is upside down. So if you notice, this is where your stab jacks go. So we put the axles on, we put the stab jacks on, and then they rotate it, and that's what you get from that point. But they come in upside down, just so our guys can work on them a little easier. Everything's right here in kind of the strike zone, right? Instead of having it flipped over and have to get underneath everything. So your axles, your tires, and your stab jacks come on in this stage. Oh, and then obviously you can see that's the underbelly layment.
Right.
So that goes on at this stage as well.
Okay, so they do the underbelly, and then they start stacking everything on top.
We're gonna take a look at it. Oh, we're gonna take a
Point
look
that
at
out
it
to
right
the wife.
here. So here's one that obviously just barely got moved over here. They set some tanks in there, but you can see they're not fastened down yet. So this would be the first thing they do in the morning. But like I said, now it's turned upside down, or right side up, and this is the underlayment, which is nice because now you can kind of see it's got that flex foil right there to help protect it. So not only has it got that strong corrugated plastic to you know, the underbelly protection is designed for two things. It's not just a heat saving, but it's a moisture saving. Picture going on a rainy day and all that water that's getting splashed up underneath nobody thinks about this. And that's what it's more designed to do, as much as it is to help capture heat and keep your tanks from freezing. But it keeps all that water off your sub-4 while you're going down the road on a rainy day. And I think what we do really nice is having that flex foil that's on the back side of that, so you get the really rigid plastic to help you from the moisture from below, while you get the protection from the heat with the flex foil. So tanks.
Gray tank,
And
black tank.
here's one thing that we do I think that's really, really important. If you notice, we got all these flush mount cross members across here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them down there. Plus my outrigger, my structure on the very outside, 9 structure out here, let's call it 10. So 10 flush mount cross members.
Cross members.
The next stage of this, but we won't see it over there, is we use 2x3 floor joists every 12 inches on center. So we run a 2x3 this way. So we got flush mount cross members as the first stage of our foundation. Then we run joists. Did I say truss?
I think you said truss, but yeah, joist.
Joists. Truss go
Floor
over
joist.
up. Floor joists. So every 12 inches we run a full boom, 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 boom. Most manufacturers do every 16 inches. So we get at least one more. And you can see over there, see those long 2x3s right there? That's what they use to line this.
Oh, okay.
But the flush mount cross members, the 2x3s, that's all designed to help support that subfloor. We'll walk up to that subfloor right there. But as you can see, they're starting to run lines up through there, getting their tanks set. Now we put another wrap on here for a secondary protection against that moisture. Yep, so underneath here, you got the underbelly wrap, and then underneath the flooring itself, this is what we call a Darko wrap. It's kind of like a
Like a tie vest.
it's like a tarp, but not near as bulky. So that'll help protect it as well. And this is where they start routing things out, pulling your electric lines, plumbing lines, whatever needs to get run across here. They start running, you know, your dumps and whatnot underneath here. This all runs now vertically this way. So these all run, well, I guess I would say horizontally this way. They slide inside of these tracks here so that way we can move them. And at this stage, when there's not much on them, they're not too hard to move. One person can move the whole thing. Yeah. So, but as you move further down, and as you can see, they start constructing sidewalls and in walls. More weight starts to get on them, and 2 or 3 people need to start moving them. And then after the roofs get on them, maybe 3 people need to move them. When the skins get on, they get a little heavier. But here's just from that stage over there, very, very raw, very early in the build stage. Over here, the linoleum goes down. You can see it's a one-piece overlay, and we go all the way out to the outside, because keep in mind, your outer wall is going to come on here and connect all that. But at least we stretch it all the way to the edges. Yep. That right there is just this over here, a little bit more advanced, probably a little bit more wiring going on. These people have plans, and they know what we're going to be building tomorrow, the next day, all the way into next week. So what they're trying to do is build cabinets and whatnot, so that way they're ready for tomorrow's build or maybe Wednesday's build. So that way this just goes down the line very smoothly. Also, if you notice over there, those are, you know, more structured front wall.
Pre-made walls.
Yep. This is a side wall or an interior. Oh, it's that wall right there. See it?
Yep.
So tomorrow they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're building 6 tomorrow. So 7,500. Looks like they're going to build all of these with the same floor plan. So and it looks like there's already 3 of them, 4. They're probably going to run 10 of them in a row. But that's how we get our efficiencies, by running the same floor plan many days in a row. And then switch out to another floor plan, and we'll run 10 of those. So all this is getting built right back here, so that way it's ready for tomorrow's production. Bada bing, bada boom, ready to go. Move it down the line. It's fun. So our people work typically from 5 in the morning to 11. And if we were in here earlier in the day, you'd just hear nothing but nailers going off, pop, 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 pop. And people talking crap back and forth to each other. Let's go, let's get moving, let's get hot. They get excited down here. They're all high strung.
Now imagine in the summer it gets really hot.
It does, yeah. And these guys get paid, it's rate pay. So they get paid for the unit to go out the door. So if they get them done in 5 hours, they get paid the same rate whether they work 5 hours or 8 hours. So that's why they move fast. So this stage here, obviously we're starting to put in the bed box, getting a little bit more advanced with some of the electrical and some of the ducting. The interior walls start getting erected. You can kind of start seeing the definition of the cabinetries and whatnot. Bottom bunk right there must be the bathroom over there. So you get a real good view of it. This is just another stage over where you just start seeing a little bit more things put together.
And installing the heaters.
Yep. Yeah, installing the heaters and running the lines to them. Water heaters, things of that nature. Well, based on your floor plan, sometimes it's very difficult to get them orientated in there properly, or not properly. You know, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't environment. Right? You only got so much room to work inside of there, and if we change one thing, it impacts 2 others. So sometimes it's the worst of the evils. And I don't know it particularly on this floor plan, like, so obviously there's enough room where you can orientate it this way, but in some floor plans we'll orientate them kind of
At an angle.
Yeah.
at an angle, but
Yeah.
that's just so people can sit on them and get their knees clear of everything. And, you know, this floor plan, the orientation it's at, you got all this extra space out here to be clear. Some of the other ones, though, you got to be a little bit creative, so to speak, but you still got to have functionality in mind. You can't just put them anywhere. You got to put them where they're functional. Tankless water heaters, pretty much everyone has now.
I've heard good and bad about those. On some different
so
forums.
So we're about a year in on using them, maybe a little less than a year in on them. And I don't talk to our warranty team every day, but we talk often, and I don't think there's any more claims coming through because it's a tankless versus the tank water heaters. So I don't know if they're misbehaving at a higher clip than what the other ones are. I just don't hear much about them, which is a good thing. But that's typically what when we get a ton of warranty claims on something, we know we got to change it, right? We're doing something wrong. And so if we're getting a ton of warranty claims on that, we would look at a different method. Otherwise, we'd be just fighting it the rest of our lives. So, and that's it. When people come into like RV shows, and sometimes we've got like that bathroom shower that just got the roll curtain and it rolls back up inside there, and some people don't like that.
Yeah.
And they're always like, oh, that needs to be upgraded, that breaks all the time. And I remind them, we don't get as many claims as you think, because if we did, that we would have that thing changed. We're not going to keep doing it over and over and over again and continue to house claim after claim after claim.
One of the things that I found out about that shower, and this
Yeah.
has to do with the skylight that comes in.
Yeah.
Just a lot of heat that comes down. the
Oh, so
skylight.
it needs to be maybe a little bit better insulated around there so no heat leaks through there?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But one of the things I noticed about the shower curtain itself,
Yeah.
it's dark. So you pull it across and it blocks out some of the heat.
Oh, I
And then
gotcha.
put a shower
During the
curtain.
day,
I
we just
gotcha.
Plus, it allows it to dry.
Yes, true. Well, inside of that, when it rolls back in, there's a squeegee in there that's doing its work. So when you
okay.
retract that thing back in there, the inside of it's got a squeegee, and it just kind of it makes all the water funnel down to the bottom channel.
Oh.
So there is a protectant in there.
Okay.
Now, you might want to tell Miss Legal,
Yeah, Lisa?
Lisa, might want to tell Lisa one thing that might be a design improvement
Yeah.
is put a light in the shower, because
And don't just bank on the overhead.
in the
Yeah,
bathroom,
because a lot of
because that,
times you take a shower at night.
Yeah.
and it's,
That
it's
curtain is so
darker.
dark.
I see what you're saying.
of course, I know where everything is on
Yeah.
me, so
No, but it's still, everyone likes a light on in their bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe even an LED around the outside.
Oh, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
An LED
Make it
around
sparkle across there.
Oh, yeah.
So here are you can see our exterior walls are starting to go on now. So before we just had the interior walls, so now you start getting the true exterior definition here. So now it starts looking a little bit more like a camper. Okay, so here I'll just explain it to you real quick. Everything that's going this way is not load bearing. Okay,
Yeah.
not load bearing at all. The load is being transitioned into this vertical piece. These here just keep the vertical piece move from
Okay,
moving
moving this way.
So ideally, do we want them anchored into these 2x? Absolutely. But this here isn't, none of these screws are load bearing right at all. They're just keeping this piece from moving back and forth.
Okay.
Gotcha. And same with
Yeah,
this over
same
here.
with
You
some
can
of
see
the
what we're
others,
missing.
yeah.
These are load bearing, but that screws that are in there are just keeping them from sliding, not
Okay.
so much from pulling out. Start seeing the definition of the passenger storage here. Start to see the curvature of the front cap. And here's what's really cool. So come over here. This is tomorrow's run. So they've got the front cap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we must be building 6 tomorrow. They use this jig right here, so every time they get it right based on what floor plan we're running. But tomorrow they'll come in, start building for Wednesday's run. All these go right into production tomorrow.
Those are all the different models.
Yep, those
you
are all
make?
of our floor plans right there. Between the Delaterra and the Silver Lake.
So the
Silver Lake,
Delaterra is
Silver Lake.
like their top model.
Yes.
Okay.
The Delaterra is our Cadillac. That is kind of our GM. Well, this is Delaterra is our Lexus. That's our Toyota. How's that? How's
Okay.
that? Let's sneak right back here real quick. once you get, everybody's framing stuff up, getting ready for tomorrow. Framing stuff up so production goes easy tomorrow. All of our drawers, all of our desks, everything. And what I failed to show you, and I wanted to point out, this is where all the plumbing starts. If you notice, it's all gravity fed. So they're back here cutting all the plumbing parts, getting them customized and specific for what floor plans are coming next, and he'll load them back there. So that way, whatever floor plan's coming, the guys just come, grab this one, and all the weight comes down. So the next one they grab. So they're strategically staging these based on how, you know, what they need to cut for the plumbing for each unit based on what unit or what floor plan we're running.
Cool.
So there's customization while we're putting this all together inside of this little Henry Ford, you know, assembly line. Exactly. This is just our stick and tin line, right? So it's just our conventional build. That building over there, they're doing the same thing except with Altas, our ultralight. Next building down, they're building fifth wheels today down there. We have two buildings for fifth wheels. So the same thing's going on in that big building right across over there, just with an entirely different segment. So we usually get out about 20 campers. No, not that many. Maybe 18 campers a day between all the lines. Yep, so all this is just kind of putting on the front cap and whatnot. So if we look at some of these backer boards, these potentially are to like maybe hold an awning or something, some lights. I don't know exactly what everything is, but that's why we put these in, because someone's going to screw something into them from the outside. So we put some backer boards in certain places. Continuously you start seeing some final finish stuff going in. Sinks. You got the faucet right there. Lines are starting to come out of the ceilings for electric, whatnot. This one here finally has the roof set on top of it. And if you notice, above the two catwalks here, what they do is they built the roofs right up here. Well, come on over here. You can see, so they'll build the roofs up there, construct it completely, and then they'll cable drive them out here, set them down, and then the guys lower these catwalks. If you notice on these catwalks, they can raise and lower, so that way guys can get down there, you know, and assemble the roof in a proper fashion. Then it moves a little further down, and that's where they start putting in, you know, like the air vents and whatnot, start putting on the roof material, put on the adhesives. But this is where the roofing starts to go on at, and this whole platform up here holds nothing but roofing materials, because that's where they build them at. More prep for wiring and whatnot, so when it's time to do their thing, they're ready. Over here, look at these. So we got sidewalls already built. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they must be running about 10 of these, like I said, in a row. And so you'll see them right over here. So what happens is when they're ready to go on, they'll slide that into position, grab them once again with our air hoist them over there, and then fasten them on the hook bolt. But that's what they're doing. They're just getting poised for tomorrow. He's putting paneling on that top one right there, and then he'll come back and route out for the windows, you know. So that way it's ready to go on tomorrow, and that's his job. He just sits there and builds in walls all day. Builds a right in wall, side wall. Builds a right side wall and a left side wall. While someone else is building the interior wall, somebody else is building the front. That way we keep everybody efficient. Yeah, this could be a back wall. You can see the cutout right there. So these here must be the ones that are poised for tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That must be a 7th right there. And then they'll come in and start knocking them out. And you can see little sidewall stuff right through there with window openings and whatnot. So that's, here's another portion of the sidewall. So you can slide them right in there and fasten them. Start getting the insulation on. Siding starts going on. As you can see, these are kind of full runs. And then they'll come back tomorrow and they'll just route these out. And this is where a door is going to be. This must be the smallest piece we ordered by like a 4-foot piece. So my wall, or my opening for my door is right here. So they'll just come right here with a metal router tomorrow. Like that right out, route this out. But this is kind of where it starts to shape on the exterior.
So they do have a pretty good amount of insulation in them.
Absolutely. So as you can see, everything's insulated completely around it. The slide out, I'll show you the slide outs over there in a minute. They're all insulated as well.
Does the roof get insulated?
Yep. The roof, yeah. when they build it up there, they insulate it.
Oh, okay.
Or those guys might put in, no, you can see, look at all the rolls.
Oh,
They
okay.
obviously put it on down here. So you can see the front cap's completely insulated as well.
Great.
And then we buy our slam latch doors already constructed, put together, and there's insulation inside of there.
Cool.
Well, that keeps the cool air from going up, because your bed's right here, right?
Yeah.
Keeps cool air from going underneath here. Yeah, so we obviously can see, so they're putting the insulation on. You can see that they've lowered that deck down. That's where it starts at. Now they've lowered it down, so now that catwalk has that entire roof line right in their, kind of right in their wheelhouse to put it together. So insulation's going on. They're fastening it down. Let's go around the front there and we'll get a better view of it. So you can see he's up there. He's fastening down. Looks like the front of that cap, or the front of the metal, but just getting the roof in place. And you can see he's walking on it. It's a fully walkable roof. I think just a minute ago we seen him take a little pallet of some decking up there, right? I mean, that's how fast they laid it down, because that's what he's walking on. And then, so if you come over and see this guy, he's adding that adhesive on there. So now that's what they're getting ready to do. They're getting ready to put the roof membrane on it.
Oh,
It's a one-piece overlay. It goes completely over it all. They tuck it in on the sides to keep it, try to keep it waterproof, and then obviously cut out around where your vents are going to be at, where the AC is at. But yeah, right here's your one-piece overlay on the roof membrane. Yeah, you get a pretty good view of it over here. Get the AC up there all ready to go. See it on that carriage up there. And then all their vents are on there, so they'll lower that down and move that across as they're working in each stage. That just keeps everybody safe, keeps it simple, but it's all about safety as well. From here on, that's when the interiors kind of take main focus, right? So people are getting in there and getting more finished looks, getting wiring done, getting your lights on there, getting, you know, so it looks more like a camper. So this is where our slide outs go in. You notice all of our slide outs are already built, right? And you talked about the insulation. Well, let's walk over there. Yeah, watch your step there. Fully insulated. And then they start putting that exterior metal on here with the windows. So you can kind of see that the slide out side box is fully insulated. Then the next step is to put that in-wall window on there. We like to keep that operation one. It was a 2-year window, but we don't have it anymore. And then what they'll do is they'll pick it up with a forklift, or they'll pick it up with, you can see the dollies underneath there. So that's the first one for tomorrow. They'll roll it in place and then pick it up with a forklift while a couple guys work on it. Yeah. See, they're kind of working on it now.
I'm glad, I don't know if y'all ever used it, but I'm glad that they don't have the Schwinn-Tech.
Yeah, the Schwinn-Tech typically only gets used when you slide out small. 12 foot, you're gonna use the rack and pinion.
Yeah.
The gearing system seems to work much better, less issues, and it's clutch. It's clutch, so if it comes in a little whopper jog, it'll clutch while it pulls the other one in. While instead of trying to pull them both in and strip this guy out, it just clutches and makes this guy come in. So they go out perfect every time, and by the time they come in and they're seated, then they're square when they come in. You can see they're starting to put some stickers on stuff, give it a really good look. This is the Silver Lake, which is that Camping World private label. You can see I think we're running Silver Lakes all week long. No Delaterras this week. And then we've got quality control looking at everything, just kind of putting an eye on stuff. You notice, you see the red tape by the door, and there's red tape by what he's working on. That's how they identify. So when someone's down the line identifies that there's something a little boogered up, they'll put that tape on there, and until that goes out the door, that has to be accounted for because it's going to be on her list. So even if so let's say everybody went home and that fell off and got swept up in the morning, it's still on her list to be looked at. But those are how we identify things. If you notice, that one he just took off, he's attacking what she found out. Potentially these windows don't set in there properly, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll tag it for somebody to come back and loosen it up and put that window in there properly. I mean, we still got a lot of work to do, even from here. Jumping this one this way. So as you can see, even though we're quite a ways down the line, still a lot of tape in here. right? Still a lot of things that need to be addressed. Now, so here's the attack list. So for me, if I see this and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that maybe they want someone to clean that up right there, so it doesn't have that on there. I don't know exactly sure. Sometimes these doors can go in cockeyed, so that's what her job is, to make sure that all these are eye level. You know, that's people, when you're at retail, that's what people look for. Because if they're sagging and whatnot, you gotta get them fixed before we ship them out. But obviously we got more trim to put up. The U-shaped dinette, yep. So a couple more stages down. Cleaned up a little bit more. Don't quite have the furniture in just yet, but we're a little bit more cleaned up. Less stickers are hanging, right? So as we continue to move down, there's a group of 4 or 5 people that are in final finish, and as these move down, they continue. So no one's waiting for them to do final finish, okay? Because they are final finish. As these continue to move down, they're jumping back in it and pulling, you know, fixing the tape stuff. So the last 4 or 5 sections is all designed for final finish. And then we have customers that potentially have gotten some poor quality, maybe the last 2 or 3 campers in a row, and they've called us and said, hey, you know what, man, you know, we got cabinets hanging or whatnot. That's the 2 that's in that bay. So we'll take, if a specific customer's hollering about it, then the next 5 or 10 units that we ship to them, we'll make sure we run through that so they're perfect. So it's just one more layer of customer service and quality control for that customer that potentially something snuck out that wasn't in great shape. They won't complain but a couple, 3 times. There's too many manufacturers, they'll drop you and go get someone else. The one thing that they don't want to do business with is poor quality. The mattress goes in, everything's getting a little closer to finished. A little closer to finish. So now you can see there's some fabrics inside of it with your couch in it, and so now it's really starting to define itself. And once again, we still probably got a few tape places in here, but they'll continue to work that out before it gets to the final door. And
So you've pretty much gone with Delaterra and the Silver Lake. You've pretty much gone to the tankless water heaters on all
yes,
of them?
both of them will have the tankless.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The goal is because our factory isn't all that big. We want to carry the least amount of SKUs as possible. So whatever windows we're putting in that one, we're going to put in this one. Whatever tanks we're putting in that one, we're going to put in this one. So that way we don't have 2 different tanks, right? So it just makes it easier. And not only that, when we're ordering from our vendors, quantity discount's a big play. So instead of buying 100 of these and 100 of these, just give me 200 of these and let's see what that price is. Right. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And at every point we have to find those efficiencies, whether it's, you know, order quantities, find vendors that have higher quality products. Uh-oh, Connor's thinking on the job, got her on camera. Sending that over to Lisa here in a little bit.
Everybody needs to take a break, right?
Okay, that again?
She's done.
Oh, she's done. And then one more stage in final finish. They're still working on it. You can see still got tools in there. So they're just sharpening things up. But this is, the closer it gets to this door right here, the closer it gets to being done. And then special care on the couple over there just to avoid. That's the greasy wheel that gets the oil. That's over there.